All right, welcome back. Welcome back to Filmmakers Making Films. Today we're having another episode in our series, Right Club. Can you say Right Club?
Right Club.
Right Club. First rule about Right Club is we don't talk about Right Club, so we broke it. All right, so we're breaking apart episode 4. And I thought I could pitch to you what I have so far for episode 4, and then we'll call Miranda up and she can help us talk through some of the details. If you joined the live stream we had a couple of weeks ago, you know the gist of it, but in essence, episode 3 is like Ezra and Liam getting away. They're trying to find the first resource to feed the machine so that they can get the machine working again and get Ezra back. It requires 3 resources, a series of 3 tasks they have to accomplish. They get the first one, but right when they get it, they get trapped. They get trapped in an underground bunker. They eventually get out at the end. They feed the machine the resource, and it tells them, because it took them so long, it's shaving a day off of their time that they have. Again, that's details you wouldn't even have if you watched the live stream. That's stuff I wrote this morning. But coming in episode 4, they are working on the second resource. Okay, so this is their second task. This is the second thing they have to do to sort of feed the machine with the resources it needs to get it working again to send Dad, Ezra, back. Is it weird that Dad's name is Ezra? The dad's name is Ezra, not the kid, because you know an Ezra, don't you?
Yes, he's my brother.
Hey, leave your mic like that so they can see your face in that camera. How about that?
No, I want to be that kid.
Well, you can still see your face on that camera.
I like it like this.
Diva. Episode 3, the resource, like the clue they were given, was to prove your swell intentions, bring me an item the intended would have tended to quite well. It's fine. It's good enough, right? Good enough right now to move on. So it was essentially like the machine was saying, bring me something that like the person you intended to bring through, which was Mom, which was Mags. Oh yeah, Clifford's on the podcast with us today as well. You can keep Clifford, just don't be obnoxious with it, okay? He can stay. So episode 3, the clue was leading them to bring me something that like Mags would have taken good care of, that she would have cared about, would have been important to her. So they go to find this time capsule. They're looking for like things that she would have kept in the time capsule. It turns out she cleaned the time capsule before she passed, and the only thing she left in it was a DVD for Liam. So that's episode 3. You can go read the script. It's out on the website now. Love you. If you're actually reading it, it means a lot. I really appreciate it. I know that's not like everybody's favorite pastime. I did the math, and so far I've written, it was like 55 single-spaced pages. So like it's like 85 double-spaced pages. So remember when you were like, oh, I have to write a 3 to 5 page paper for this class, and that's really overwhelming. Yeah, so far we've done 85-ish double-spaced essay pages equivalent. So episode 4, they're getting into like the resource, the task. Like what I wrote this morning was like, pick someone you both love, preserve their dream for years to come. Again, it's not my favorite, but it at least gets the gist of what I'm trying to say across right now, which is the machine wants them to take Mags. What you doing? Just keep your shirt down. Okay. The machine wants them to both pick someone that they would have loved. So like pick someone you both love. Again, I think the logical answer for them is going to be Mags, because it's kind of the only person they both love. Pick someone you both love and then go preserve their dream. So what I'm trying to get them to end up leading to is saving the restaurant. This is the episode where we attempt to save the restaurant. The restaurant has been flailing. You also, sorry, this is really important in the recap. You also, previously on, Christmas Time is the working title of this show. I don't love it, but it at least, again, is the gist of what I'm trying to say. It's about time, and it's about Christmas. I also wanted to call it Father Time, but not Father Time. Father Time? But I can't figure out how to get the emphasis on the right syllable. So anyway, episode 4, they are working through trying to save the restaurant. Can you say save the restaurant?
Save the restaurant.
Into your microphone.
Oh, save the restaurant.
So, I'm thinking right now we start off with, when should we bring Miranda in?
Right now.
Like right now?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll text her. You can come now. We're rolling. LOL. So it starts with like Ezra having a dream about the first moment that Mags, when they were dating, showed him the storefront that she was going to, that she was trying to get for the restaurant she wanted to start. I want to sort of have him have this dream because it sort of haunts him that like he didn't like embrace and fight for her dream, I think is a little bit the perspective. But anyways, we move from there. He wakes up. I don't know what to do next. What should he do after he wakes up?
He wakes up.
You got to talk in your mic.
Oh, he wakes up and goes to see Liam and then talks to him and then goes to see Mags and talks to her.
Okay, well, Mags he can't talk to right now. Mags is gone.
Okay.
She's passed away. But what if he goes and talks to Liam? He could talk to Liam and Manna. Remember, there's a character named Manna too. He could go talk to.
He can talk to Liam and Manna.
Okay, what should they talk about though?
About like when they like first met.
They should talk about when they first met. What does that mean?
When they first like met each other.
Like when Liam and Manna first met each other?
Yeah.
Oh. It's kind of interesting. I kind of like that idea, actually. So Ezra has a dream about the first time Mags showed him the restaurant she was dreaming about having. That plants the seed. You can come in. Welcome, friend of the podcast, Miranda. So I almost said Sanborn. Socks. She's married now. It's been, probably haven't done a podcast really like this since you got married.
Don't let Ethan.
So Mags is showing Ezra in the dream like the place she wants to buy to build her restaurant. And then Manna just pitched, what if then the next thing we see is a conversation that where like Liam and Manna talk about the first time they met? I know, it's kind of actually a good idea. It's not a bad idea to have them have a conversation because what we need to lead into is Manna's moving away. So Manna wants to work in managing restaurants. And Aunt Liv, in the last episode you saw, Aunt Liv is not giving her her opportunity. So she obviously works at a restaurant. She's waitressing, but her dream is to manage. So she wants to manage Eden, which is Mags and Aunt Liv's restaurant. But Liv won't let her because they're drowning. And so she doesn't have the capacity right now to like risk it on a rookie manager. Eden is the name of the restaurant.
What?
You like it or no?
No.
No? I like it because the name of the restaurant represents what the restaurant means to the story, right? So Eden was a place that like God made and it was beautiful. And then they got pushed out because they didn't obey. So they spent the rest of their lives probably wanting to go back to that place. They desired to go back to Eden, right? And I think that's a good metaphor for this because Eden represents the season of life when they were happiest. Like when the restaurant was thriving, they were happiest. And so now that Mags is gone and the restaurant's falling apart, they want to go back to that season when the restaurant was working. What do you think? You still dislike it? It's better now? Okay. So Eden's the name of the restaurant. But anyway, I do think it's a good little poke if Manna and Liam could somehow have a conversation about like the first time they met.
Mm-hmm.
It needs to be an interesting story, I guess. But it could start the conversation about
where is he sleeping?
I think he's sleeping here.
Okay.
Like on the floor was my thought. Like Liam allows him to sleep in the room, but he like makes it difficult for like he not even an air mattress, like on the rug with a blanket that's too small for him.
It's funny.
I don't know. We'll put this for now. When Liam and Manna first met, because that puts a little bit of that plants the seed of like when Manna then turns it into like, hey, I'm leaving. I don't know. We can mess with it later. But first met. All right. So we need to set up at the beginning because at the end of episode 3, you do not know what the task is. You don't know the riddle. So we have to find the riddle out early on in episode 4.
Yeah.
I don't know. Could they already know it?
I mean, they could. I do think it could be an interesting beat, though.
My thoughts.
Well, no, they would already know it.
What are your thoughts?
My thoughts are like they are looking around this. Like, is it a Christmas job?
Is it a Christmas show?
A Christmas job.
Job? What's a Christmas job?
Like, what is the task?
That's a good question. The task is
like something Christmassy.
Wow, you're actually good at this. The task is saving the restaurant. It just can't literally say that. So the end of the task is causing Aunt Liv to not sell the restaurant. That's the end result of the whole episode. Aunt Liv, who has decided as of last episode to sell the restaurant to Dax, because she sees the spark that they put in this episode to getting the team excited, to seeing some new talent, to getting a new chef, all of that. I don't even know if you saw one of the first beats. Manny, their current chef, quits.
Yeah, I did see that one.
He doesn't either. I think Dax just is the one who motivates it.
Well, my thought
Dax pushes him out.
Okay.
So either Dax like blackmails him.
Uh-huh.
I don't think he like locks him up. I don't think we go that dark, but like the first beat is like, oh, that's what motivates everything. Instead of him like leaving and having this whole thing, the first beat is like he quits.
Yeah.
And suddenly when they come to the restaurant, it's in chaos because it's, starting the lunch, they're starting to prepare for the dinner rush.
Right.
And they just lost a chef.
Right.
What's up? What's your thought?
My thoughts are like, they are like, the bullies try to punch it, but they, like, are pushing the bully though. It was something like really hard.
The bullies like punch him?
No, I'm saying like the building.
The bullies punch the building? They punch the building?
Like, yeah, like they try to break it down.
Oh. Why?
Because they think it's cool.
They just think it's cool to break things?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it sounds like boys. I was thinking
it
that
could be
bringing
cool.
the bullies back is not a bad
I was
idea,
just
though.
thinking, like, wow, we haven't seen them in a while, and maybe Dax like hired him out to cause some mischief.
That was always my thought, is like Dax and the bullies work in tandem.
Yeah.
And the reason, what I was saying with Manny quitting, Dax motivates that because he's trying to put the final squeeze on her to sell it.
Right.
So Manny quitting, he's hoping that that's the last straw.
Right.
But because it's not, when they go to have this climactic dinner rush, yeah, what if the bullies are the ones that try to ruin it?
Yeah.
Maybe even do ruin it,
What if
but
it's
people
like one
still
of those,
have a good time.
I was gonna say, what if it's one of those moments though where they like put something in the food, but not realizing that it's like made the food even better? I don't like they're trying to sabotage, but they're actually making it better in the process.
No, I don't think they should be ignorant to the good. I think they should do something that actually should cause a problem.
Mm-hmm.
But the team shows how good they are at managing crises. Actually, it should probably be the new chef, the janitor who becomes the chef.
Oh, like
He knows a
swoops in
fix.
and saves the day.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like they try to destroy the food by like they dump a bunch of sugar into it or something like that.
Salt.
Yeah, but the problem is salt just makes it nasty.
It's true.
If they were to, I'm thinking with sugar, it's like if they dumped a bunch of sugar in it
And then
and it
they
was a
could-
savory dish, they
Yeah.
ruin it, but then he pivots and it becomes like this awesome dessert.
Yeah.
But
That's
I feel like
true.
that's a little too low-hanging fruit. Anyways, let's just work through the beats because we're missing a lot.
Yeah.
But there's an open beat right after that's what each of these represent, trying to sort of have these 15 moments. Like each one might represent it'll represent at least a scene, maybe 2 or 3 scenes, depending on kind of what's necessary. But each of these beats are a moment that we're trying to get to and from, kind of what I did with the Post-it notes. If you've been following that far along, or the index cards on the whiteboard. This is a digital version that I can have with me at all times. So there's this empty beat. I don't know what to do after the initial conversation where they talk about what the resource is.
Mm-hmm.
Something needs to motivate them, I think, to get to the restaurant. Because I'm thinking when they get to the restaurant, it's already in chaos.
Yeah.
Manny, that's gonna be confusing. Manny quit, so the restaurant's in chaos. And I'm thinking that like Ezra just like agrees to cook for like a shift. Like,
Right.
hey, I get it. Let me just help. You two go figure out what we need to do for the resource. I'm gonna go. Maybe they don't know at this point that, the restaurant is the most obvious thing.
Yeah.
But the only way that can work is we need another obvious thing that would actually make sense. They need to land on something that actually makes sense at the beginning. if we're going to bring the restaurant around later. But maybe the restaurant is not the most obvious thing to them because maybe the clue is better than it is, and it points them somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
But then the restaurant's in chaos.
My
Ezra
thought-
agrees to help. What's your thought?
My thoughts are like they try to ruin the food, but they can't.
Why can't they?
They accidentally dump salt and sugar
Salt
Together.
and sugar.
together.
Why?
That they like are wanting to eat it themselves.
Oh, you think the bullies are just hungry?
Yeah.
No, that doesn't work. But I like the salt and the sugar. That's actually not a bad idea. I don't know. I'm just questioning if it should be more diabolical.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Like
Ruining the food though is probably the right move because they know that that's what this restaurant struggles with is the food. So they're trying to on the big come up, which is they're not fixing service or ambiance. They're fixing the food.
Yeah.
So
it makes
because I was
sense.
like, do they pop a gas line or do they do you know what I mean? Like do something like diabolical.
Right.
But the food is probably the lowest blow.
Yeah.
I'm gonna need to do some research. I can't
How
immediately.
you can fix a
Or
dish.
actually, this is a great thing. You got anything in the comments that you can think of that is? Throw in the comments if you have an idea for what the bullies could do to like ruin the food, that then the team could pivot to make even better. I don't know. Right now, Ezra agrees to cook for the day. Stop it, please.
Okay.
And then the pivot for me because I got to figure out how to get the janitor to become chef.
So with the
Did you
janitor,
understand what the notes were?
on here?
Yeah,
Yeah.
So like he pulls the best line cook that they think they have
Mm-hmm.
as Manny's replacement, and maybe he's a really good chef, but he's not good under pressure. He's not a good leader. Like maybe he's a good cook.
He just melts.
He's a terrible leader, and so they go into the dinner rush, and this guy's melting down like he's just a ball of nerves.
Yeah.
And Ezra keeps seeing the janitor like fake, like mopping, but like going behind this chef and like basically ratatouilleing him.
Right.
Like
right.
Remying him, like giving him notes like fix it. The guy's even letting the janitor taste, looking around, not letting anyone see. But Ezra sees it and realizes that the janitor's actually the brain
Yeah.
in the meal that was good.
Yeah.
That
I
maybe
like
even that line cook cooks a good meal. Maybe the dinner rush actually ends up decent. But he watches him and he sees he doesn't have the nerves to do that.
Yeah.
He's really a number 2. And it doesn't taste good because of him. And I don't like that you took credit for it.
Yeah.
And so he goes straight to
Just
the
don't like
janitor
you.
and he's like, what was that? And the janitor thinks he's in trouble. And he ends up getting the job.
Yeah.
I love that.
I
think
like
that's
that a
actually a really
lot.
good arc.
Yeah. I really like that. Should we introduce the janitor earlier?
So this is Miranda's incessant question. A, yes, the janitor has to be introduced earlier. B, the janitor has been introduced earlier. I just have not been clear in the script. I've been about as clear in the script as I want the audience to understand.
Uh-huh.
So like the janitor is there mopping when Liam walks in
Yeah.
and has the encounter with Aunt Liv.
Yeah.
Episode 1, first scene. The janitor is the one when Liam goes to it's episode 2, I think. Maybe end of episode 1. He goes to the restaurant and has to sneak in at night to go try and get the time machine working. And there's somebody secretly cooking in the kitchen. You remember that at all? It's like this little blurb.
I do remember.
Throw it on the
Do
screen.
you reference the janitor in that?
I don't know if
scene?
I say who it is. I think it just says someone's cooking.
Oh, okay.
But I have been wondering if like you see him.
Yeah.
Like, you see him actually cooking.
Oh, okay.
Let off the gas episodes 2, maybe episodes 2 and 3.
Yeah.
Keep him present, but don't show him cooking again.
Yeah.
Episode 4, when he's whispering in the ear of the new chef, maybe that becomes a callback to like episode 1 or 2 whenever we showed that he likes cooking.
Mm-hmm.
So then my mind is like, midpoint is the janitor who is also, I don't think I've ever explained this in a video. Yes. Give us your thoughts first.
My thoughts are like
Pause for a
they
quick
are
commercial break.
trying, like,
Comana
to,
break.
like do the things they're not supposed to, but they meet earlier. I thought so that they do something that they know that they're not supposed to do, but they meet really early.
But they meet really early?
Yeah.
What do you mean by that part?
I mean, like, they are trying to do something bad, but they actually are doing something good.
They're trying to do something bad, but they're actually accidentally doing something good.
No, they're trying to do something bad, but they're actually doing something good.
Meaning they don't realize that they're doing something good.
Yeah.
That was Miranda's idea. I just feel like I want the team. So the reason I don't like that idea, it's not because it's not a good idea. It's actually a really good idea. But the reason I don't like it here is just because I want the team to get the win, not like chance. Does that make sense? Like if it was like, oh, they were trying to do something bad, but it ended up good. Then sort of like their dumb luck is what gets the W.
Yeah.
I want the team of chefs. I want them to prove here because we're taking an episode of TV. You know, it's like watching, what are those shows? Like
Louie.
Not Bluey. No, like those Gordon Ramsay shows where he like goes in and it's a terrible restaurant. They make it over in 35 minutes and it works perfectly from that moment on.
Right.
Like obviously that restaurant probably is still terrible a year later after those, after he leaves and he's not the one running the show. I want to be realistic enough that they don't suddenly in a montage fix everything about their restaurant. Right. I just want to poke at maybe they have enough to like rebuild.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And that's enough for Liv to just go, okay, this is not going to be fixed in a month, but I think maybe with this team, this is enough to be much better in a month than we were a month ago. Because we're worse now than we were a month ago. But I think with this team, maybe we'd be better in a month.
Yeah.
That's all I want to do.
So, okay, so it's really like team focused. What I think is cool is we're starting
team and
this.
specifically this new chef.
Yes.
Like, I want him to be able to be the one that, like, we got a new quarterback and he can rally. Yeah. If you're following football at all, I'll just do it. I know. The Indianapolis Colts, when we're recording this, just benched Anthony Richardson and they put in veteran, like old, he's like 39. They just benched a 22-year-old quarterback because he was, listen to this though. He pulled himself out of the game on third down. I believe on a scoring drive. Tell me if I'm wrong in the comments. They're like about to score. It's third down. Uh-huh. He pulls himself out of the game because he's tired. Because he was tired.
What?
Yes. And then nobody knew that. All they knew is that he tapped out. And then in the post-game like press conference, he's like, I'm not going to lie, I was tired. Like, that was a lot of running I just did right there. And you can kind of see the collective internet just go, are you serious?
Oh, my God.
We're paying you whatever it is, $60 million, and you can't even finish the 4 downs because you're tired. So anyways, they benched him because he's not doing great. And he clearly has some things he needs to figure out. And they're putting in this 39-year-old veteran quarterback that, like, has been his backup. Anyway, my point being, what I want to show is this janitor who's probably an older guy even, who also was, I'll explain this after you finish your thought, who also was he's an ex-con. He was an inmate. I want to show that guy has what it takes to rally the team. That's more, it's like not, it's not even the team. The team's going to stay the same, but a team with a new quarterback, a team with a new leader, I want to show that leader was what was missing in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And then that at the end is what gives me the freedom to let off and maybe give Manna a chance at managing. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to focus on business and marketing, which is, that's what I'm trying to do. But I don't want this to end up being like, oh, guys, we're packing the restaurant every single night. Now, I want to see like modest gains.
Yeah. It's like still going to be a struggle. So you're writing a story, which could be a cool, like, that could be a cool conflict later on. Like, people don't like the guy so that's just a cool thought. That's not my original thought, though. So I was just saying, like, the fact that this is really team focused, this episode is really team focused, and we're starting it off immediately with something that would cause a dispute, which I like. So, which is I don't really think Liam would take Manna leaving super great.
Yes,
so I'm
I think
wondering,
he's gonna be really booty hurt, like
the
the whole first half.
Yeah,
at
that's what
least.
I was thinking was probably majority of it, and then that third beat could be him like leaving to go somewhere, like he just wants to be alone again. And that could be like a kind
like
of a struggle.
It triggers him because everybody in his life that he cares about leaves.
Yeah. So maybe that's like something, I don't know if it's like back to the park bench or something to that effect, but Liam wants to go be alone. And it's almost like he wants to recede like he was in the first episode. But then there's the urgency of like, you got to come to the restaurant. There's something like Manny just pieced out or something that would force him to come be a part of what's going on.
Okay.
Because then we can see the arc of building trust, the team again. Like, it's like as they're building this team at the restaurant, they're also building their team with each other. So that was a thought. And then I don't know, because Liam still doesn't know that Aunt Liv wants to sell.
Right.
Which also would probably not be a super great conversation.
Is it too much to compound Manna going, I'm leave? Well, I guess to me that was my thought. It's the same conversation. I'm leaving.
Your whole world is crashing down right now.
I'm leaving. Why are you leaving? It's not my place to tell, but I'll tell you because I'm mad. It's like she's bitter about it.
Yeah.
And so I think that's an understandable, not right, but it's an understandable logical sequence of emotions of like, it's not my place to tell, but I'm going to tell you because I'm really bitter about the way I feel like I've been mistreated. So
that does make sense.
Manna tells him she's leaving because of the restaurant. Where does he go and for the guess I'll go eat worms? What's he doing?
I mean, my first thought is like either the bench or the treehouse, because that just seems to be like his place to be alone.
Does it feel to you like we've used the treehouse too many times? I guess we spent one long sequence in it with Manna.
Right.
One shortish sequence in it with Ezra, because really they spent their time in the bunker in episode 3. And this is probably the only time he'll go to the treehouse this episode. Yeah. I don't know. I think maybe it's just, it feels cheap. Yeah. What about that bench on the lake?
Is that where the conversation?
That's where he tells her about
his last
conversation he had with Mags before she passed. Yeah.
Sorry, I think that was the bench I was thinking of, not necessarily a park bench.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think that's not. I still wonder if it should be more unique. I'm trying when we're writing to like give the scene as much intentionality. I feel like I've never tried to write with such intentionality as we are for this. Meaning, if he's having this
my thoughts were like
deep dark moment, I want the scene to match it. I want what he's walking through, what the discussion's about to match it.
I see.
I want the weather around him to match it. You know what I mean? Yeah. I think we've been sort of a bit more pigeonholed by our circumstances in previous projects where it's just like, well, I didn't want this scene to be sunny, but it is, and this is when we're shooting. We're like, on this one, I'm trying to be a bit more like, no, I want it. Like, we're going to make it cloudy. Yeah. And whatever I got to do to make it look like the way I want it to look, I'm going to fight for that. Where normally I'm just very sort of passive with some of those things. Yeah. What were your thoughts? Commercial break. Go.
When you were doing something that you don't know what you're supposed to do, you do it already. You've already done it.
Those really good thoughts, Clifford.
It could be the cemetery. Could go visit his mom.
Yeah, that just felt too on the nose.
Yeah,
okay, visiting his mom I don't hate.
Oh, okay.
I initially had Ezra waking up from the dream, and it's like, it's not morning, it's like the middle of the night. And he ends up going to the cemetery and visiting Mags. And maybe that's still not even a bad idea. Mm-hmm. Okay, I want him to go visit Mags. Yeah. Not at a cemetery. Okay. So maybe not the bench on the lake. The bench on the lake is Manna's place. Yeah. It needs to be a different place that was like a place Mags would take him. That was meaningful. But let's not go typical melancholy, melodramatic. It's not a, think a roller rink, a movie theater, somewhere like that. That's like a positive memory that is his attempt at trying to be with his mom.
What if it was like, okay, so this idea of she could make anything.
I just punched Clifford.
She could make anything, and everything she made was always the best except this one thing, and she'd take him to go get it. And it's like, I mean,
she couldn't cook some dish, so they always got takeout.
Yeah, but it was like I'm thinking of like a special type of hot chocolate or like a special kind of ice cream, like.
But what if we stuck with the food theme, considering the whole episode is about cooking?
Yeah,
it's a cool idea.
Because I was
some
thinking
dish
of
that like she always tried to make like pho, like Vietnamese, like some dish that she could just never get quite right.
Yeah.
And so they would always do takeout, but they would always do takeout and then eat it. Where?
Well, I was thinking they could go to like whatever the place was that made it, and it's some like, I don't
hole
know,
in
like
the wall type
yeah,
thing. Yeah.
Because my
Like a greasy
initial
spoon.
thought was like maybe it's the cafe, but that's not really like necessarily food.
It'll be too upbeat, happy.
Yeah.
High, high key. I want it to be more moody.
Yeah, and maybe it's like in like a different town. I don't know how he would get the news about the restaurant, but that was kind of like, do you?
Okay, and that's actually a good thought. What is the purpose of when he goes away?
Mm-hmm.
It can't just be to brood. What does he gain for the task? If he's going to like the initial thought is like if he goes to a different restaurant where they used to do takeout.
Yeah.
Then the end of it, while he's brooding and sulking, he has a conversation with somebody behind the, a waitress or somebody behind the counter or the owner of that restaurant, and he mentions how much he misses Mags. I used to always love having her in here. And then he says something at the end that's something to the effect of like, what's worked for us lately is not this, but like Facebook ads. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, yeah.
Some little trigger that's like, what I wish I know what I wish Liv would start doing with the restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I think Eden would really benefit from.
Yeah.
And he gives him a little spark that causes him to like go. But that means that needs to happen later.
But he could say something that triggers the
Are you sleepy?
The riddle. No. He's like, oh yeah, it was what you've written is like, preserve their dream for years. Like, oh, it's so cool that Liv really wants to preserve Mag's dream.
She wants to preserve her dream for years to come.
But not so on the nose, but that concept where he goes, oh my gosh, preserve the dream. Of course, And then that gets him to the restaurant. That would naturally take him there.
What do you think, Manna Girl?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Like, you would do, like, how you would say yes and no. You would think, yeah, I would say yes. I would think yes, but I would also think no.
So that's kind of exactly what you already told me. So if you elaborate, I need you to tell me pieces of the story that's in your head that I don't yet know. So what is yes and also no? What do you mean by that?
I mean, I'm saying yes.
Okay. All the parents went, amen. I love you, Manna Girl.
Philosophical.
Hey, can I be honest with you, though? If you want to try, like if you want to keep working at it, you will become an incredible writer because you have a super creative noggin and you have a way to grasp like high-level concepts way beyond your years. So you're actually giving good ideas even as we're writing like a big person story. I know this is not maybe like a kid's story. You're giving good ideas. That's what your sister does. That's what Eden does. Okay, so here's my problem with the chef at the other restaurant like giving him the ticket.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter to him until like that moment has to happen way later. It can't happen at the beginning of the episode because he's not invested in the restaurant succeeding yet. We haven't laid all that groundwork yet.
Yeah, but if you just... My thought was more like...
Okay,
preserve.
Finish your thought. Yes.
He understands what the resource is. That's what he's gaining. It's not necessarily I have to save the restaurant, but it's like it has to do with the restaurant.
But what if he receives it without realizing he receives it?
Okay, how so?
The guy says it, but it doesn't click with him in that moment. He just intakes it. It may be, or maybe he gets it on a surface level, which causes him to go, okay, the resource is about the restaurant. I need to go back to the restaurant. But then on a deeper level, so you have to go potty? Do you need me to go with you, or can you do it?
I can do it.
Actually, let's take a potty break. Let me finish this thought. On a deeper level, he goes, like suddenly in the dinner rush, in the chaos, he like grabs his phone, calls that restaurant. Hey, what did you do to? And then he's like, I mean, we just started doing this. And then he's like, thank you. And then starts trying. That's like the pivot, because there needs to be two teams.
Yeah.
Like the uptick of everything happening. Ezra needs to be in the kitchen fixing the food. Manna, Liv, and Liam need to be either pounding the streets. I don't want them to pound the internet, because I don't want it to be like this virtual way. Like maybe that's a piece they do, but it needs to be like they're the ones getting people into the restaurant. We'll be right back after this potty break. Back from potty commercial break. Go ahead. What was your question?
So it's not just the chef that's like the key to making it work then. What
do you mean?
So if he like gets some sort of nugget from this other chef that he goes to.
Oh, I understand.
Yeah, then it's the janitor really isn't the save the day. It's all of it together, which makes sense because that is team.
No, because they have to save two different sides of the business.
Oh, okay.
The janitor saves the kitchen. Ezra ultimately saves the kitchen.
Yeah.
Via the janitor. But they also have to save front of house. Like they're saving, Ezra and the janitor are saving back of house. The other three need to fix front of house. And I think this is also the chance to show, for Manna to show that she's capable of this. Because that's the whole point, is like, I could run front of house for you. You just won't give me a chance.
Yeah.
Well, this is the moment where Liv is so desperate because everything's falling apart. She goes, this is your chance. Like, I don't even know if Liv sees it that way. I don't even know if Liv is like, this is your chance. I think she's like, just go do it, because I can't right now. And then at the end of it, she's like, you did pretty good. Like at the party, she could be like, you did great.
Yeah.
How about you try that again tomorrow? Which becomes her chance.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as what we have at this point, I think we definitely need to figure out some beats here and there. But let's go. When he does, I guess I'll go eat worms. Another restaurant for now. I don't know exactly how I feel about that yet, but it just feels generic. That's consistently, I think, what bothers me with this stuff is like, I want it to be like, oh, that's a weird place to discover that thing about yourself, or that thing you need for the piece. Like a bunker. That's a strange place to watch a DVD that your deceased mother, you know what I mean? Like, I want it to be a little bit more novel, but he finds, some sort of clue, let's say at the other restaurant, comes
like
back.
A food truck.
Yeah.
That's a little more fun. Because that's even like, you can't get, not that food trucks are low end, but it's kind of got that persona.
No, food trucks can be very high end, but yes, they have a fast food sort of
feel
vibe to them. Yeah. Ezra agrees to cook for the day. He pulls the best line cook. We know all that. After we institute the janitor as the new head chef, which I guess I could quickly tell the story of the janitor at this point. The janitor is an ex-con. So I don't know what this is actually something we could get thoughts on. I don't know what he did. I don't think I'm going to go into like MURDER. I don't think, like, I'm not opposed to it, because the ultimate point I'm trying to make with this is like seeing the redemption from a member of the community back into the community.
Yeah.
So it's almost like, I don't know if he used to work there a long time ago and then he stole from there, ends up in prison. When he gets out, Mags gives him another chance and rehires him, but gives him a job as a janitor. Just to give him She's like, it's like correction and discipline, but like extends him an opportunity.
Yeah.
That's what I want to show. Not like, hey man, I know you're sorry. Handle our finances. Like, you be the executor.
Yeah.
Like, no, but like, I'm going to give you a shot to like become something.
Yeah.
Just earn it. But I'm thinking he gets the job as the janitor right before Mags passes. So he's just sort of like, he starts on a trajectory. With Mags, it would have probably been like he could have worked his way up.
Right.
But then she passes. So now he's just like, he's been
Stuck.
a janitor for several years, which is great because he gets the opportunity to show his consistency and his work ethic and all that. But he tells, when he becomes the chef, it happens because like Ezra's final decision, Ezra's conversation with him starts with, you seem like you know food, but it ends with him finding out like, Mags hired me. Yeah, I used to work here. I used to be a chef under her. Why would Liv not know that though?
That's what I was
If we went
gonna
that
ask.
far. I don't know that. Maybe he worked at a different restaurant
Yeah.
with Mags. Like maybe him and Mags came up at a different restaurant. Anyways, Ezra then finds out Mags gave him a job, and Ezra's sort of final the linchpin for him is like, if Mags trusted you, I trust you.
Yeah.
What do you think, Liv? Liv sort of takes a deep breath and goes, let's send it. What do we care? This thing's falling apart anyway.
Right.
And it works. So then Ezra starts a boot camp. We do like a montage of, it's honestly probably this is all the same montage. Ezra begins kitchen boot camp.
What if
Yeah, I think it's like Ezra begins kitchen boot camp and the restaurant begins working well
oh, okay, same beat.
simultaneously.
Yeah.
I think it's really the same beat. It's one sort of semi-long montage.
What point do the bullies try to sabotage? Because they could sabotage after this.
So let's go. Yeah, it would be bullies because
Then the janitor saves the day.
dinner rush is thriving. So it's kind of like the dinner rush is thriving. Then bullies execute their plan. Janitor thwarts it. Right?
Yeah.
So before that, to give us context, we need to go bullies, Dax convinces the bullies or pays the bullies. Almost like if he doesn't pay them, like he's just like that manipulative, he can just sort of do it at his word.
So I had a thought with the janitor. What if he worked for Dax at one time? And Dax kind of like got him into shady business, but Mags knew about it. And after the janitor got out, that's kind of why she gave him an extension, like a helping hand, because she knew him. Like maybe they were in culinary, I don't know, school
Like
together
they went to
or
culinary
something.
school together.
And Dax,
he got involved in one of Dax's restaurants.
And
started doing shady stuff.
Yes.
So we learned more about Dax in the process as well.
Yeah, and the janitor can be somewhat of maybe a key to knowing truly who Dax is. Because that could be an interesting tie-in with all that.
Right. I think either way, if we do like they knew each other
Like in culinary school.
in culinary
yeah.
school, Liv wouldn't have been there for that. Manna girl, you're doing so good. Are you having fun?
Yes.
Actually?
Yes.
Wow. Anything
Because
you
I
want?
brought Clifford.
Because you brought Clifford, that's why you're having fun.
Yeah.
That's fair. Is there anything you want to say right now?
Like my thoughts were like you know that you're supposed to do it. You know that you're supposed to do it, but you've already done it, so you already want to do it again.
You know that you're supposed to do it, but you've already done it. So you've already done it again.
So you know you're supposed to do it again.
So you know you're supposed to do it again?
Yeah.
Huh?
So
What does that mean? Can you elaborate?
Like you want to do it again, but you can't
Why can't you?
because it's too sugary.
Oh, are you talking about what the bullies are doing
No.
to the food? What's too sugary?
You do only sugar and caramel, and you mix it up together, and then you give it to the servants.
And then what happens?
Then the bullies try to give the caramel, make it into the caramel make it into salt, but it actually is sugary salt. They try to make it into a salty salt.
So how do we fix it?
They fix it by taking sugar and caramel by mixing it with that salt, and it makes it into a little cute too sugary cake.
A cake?
Salted caramel cake.
It's actually what it is the caramel is the salt. They have caramel salt.
I like it. I just got to figure out how to adapt it for what we're doing. But I think you're on the right track. So you're essentially saying the bullies put too much sugar or too much salt? Both?
Yeah.
Both. They put too much sugar and salt. They just start dumping stuff. Well, again, it goes back to their dumb luck. I was going to say, what if earlier in the day you see that somebody accidentally relabels sugar and salt opposite each other? So they think they're dumping in a bunch of salt and they're actually dumping in a bunch of sugar. Is that too dumb luck though? It still isn't going to be like, oh, this tastes delicious.
Yeah.
Yes, he still has to fix it.
Yeah.
He has to pivot the dish and make it something else.
No, I don't think that's too dumb luck. It's like, oh, that's good. But because now we can fix this. It's still a problem.
Or that's what they do. They don't dump it into a dish. The bullies go and change the labels on stuff. Like they go in and relabel stuff in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And then the chefs, talking to the mic if you want to talk. And then the chefs end up putting sugar in
my
something
other thoughts were
that they thought they were seasoning with salt.
You want to do the bullies are doing something they know that's bad, but they think it's good.
Yeah, because they're being naughty, but they think that they're going to get something good out of it. So that is what we're doing. It's on your face. Mama is not going to like this. That's been on your face the whole time, and I left it there. And Mama is going to watch this and be like, Dad, what is your problem? Why did you leave a big black mark all over my daughter's face on multiple spots in her face? And I also promised myself long ago that I wouldn't lick my fingers and rub it all over my kids' faces to fix things on their face. But now that I'm a parent, you just do everything that was done to you because you realize why. Good enough. Yeah? Good?
What is black on my face?
I have no idea. It's like sticky.
I know what it is.
What is it?
The seeds of the pineapple.
No, not that. So I think we're wrapping this up. Final thoughts. Let's go. Bullies do something. We'll table that as at least in the works. They do something to sabotage the restaurant. Then we hit the dinner rush, which is what we've been building towards the whole time. We're missing a beat in here for sure. This is all needs to be moved down one. We're missing a beat where Liv, it's probably could be part of the montage. Liv, Manna, and Liam execute the marketing plan.
I think that you probably also, Liam and Aunt Liv need to have a moment because now that Liam knows she's planning on selling the restaurant, right? I would think that he would confront her.
What if he doesn't?
They also never had their heart-to-heart.
What do you mean? I don't remember what I was saying. How about we just tell you the truth? We had some technical difficulties and we're coming back after it. So in essence, as we wrap this up, they need to execute a marketing plan. I think that's what I was talking about. They need to, those three, Liv, Manna, and Liam, need to execute a marketing plan. Oh. That's what draws people in. But I think that probably should be part of the montage.
Yes,
but this is going to be a long montage. Yeah. Too long, I think.
Yeah.
What were you saying?
You were saying that maybe Liam doesn't have the conversation about selling the restaurant.
Maybe it's not. Maybe he hears it from Manna and his mind, and maybe he expresses this. And maybe that's what happens at the restaurant, like at the Vietnamese restaurant or whatever, the food truck, whatever he goes to. Maybe at that restaurant, he's like, I'm going to save the restaurant. I'm going to fix this. Like maybe that's the moment where he has the resolve to just I don't need to talk to Liv about this. Maybe he has a bit of a mature moment. And this is actually the last thing I'll toss in about him, because what I'm also trying to figure out, you can read the rest of it. I think the rest of the beats are sort of self-explanatory. What I'm trying to figure out with Liam is there's this moment, right? He starts off from the moment we come back and Mags is no longer alive. He doesn't speak. Well, there needs to be some climactic moment where, because of his relationship with his father now, he speaks publicly. He overcomes that fear to such an extent that, like, the best way to spread Christmas cheer is singing loud for all to hear. And Zooey Deschanel's character is really timid and she sings in the shower, but she doesn't sing publicly. But she knows that the only way to get the sleigh in the air is to sing publicly. He needs to have that moment.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to figure out is when to do that, because I actually feel like this could be a really logical spot for him to do that. But this feels too early for him to have that big of a character arc.
Yeah.
I feel like it should be the thing that finally fixes the big end episode 6 thing that gets the time machine working and gets Dax thrown in jail or caught by the cops. Or like, I feel like it should be then, but I don't know how to work it then. So if you have an idea on how that could work for episode 6, because it's starting to make me wonder if maybe it is an episode 4 thing. That just feels early for him to have arced. Like that's the final level for him. That's like boss level is going, okay, I can talk to Manna and I can talk to Aunt Liv and maybe we add someone else and maybe we talk to like a few people in this one that we wouldn't have normally talked to, but like going public is not the same.
And this would be a good episode probably to like keep reiterating that he doesn't talk, because the last 2 episodes he's talking a lot because he's constantly with the people he's talking to. So this could be like maybe they save the restaurant and he doesn't say a word to anybody outside of those few people to reiterate that, and then in episode 5 he has that moment.
And what's the at the end of this episode? Because it's going to end on a high note right now. They have this like all staff Christmas party. You like my note in there? Somebody says, oh, I hate Christmas parties.
I laughed.
And somebody else goes, really? I love Christmas parties. So they have this like all-staff Christmas party celebrating that we like, not that the restaurants turned around.
Yeah.
I think that even needs to be clear in that scene. We get that we didn't like win the war.
Yeah.
But this was a battle that we won. This is exciting. This is momentum. We have the party. On the strength of that win, Liv goes to Dax and is like, I'm not selling. I appreciate everything you've done for me, but I have to fight for this. Which ticks him off and causes him to...
Yeah. Retaliate.
That's where we'll end it. Throw it in the comments. If you made it into the deep end and you're still here and you're still listening, give us your crack at what Dax should do or the machine should do. Something out of the hands of the main protagonists. So... it can't be something that Manna, Liam, Ezra, or Aunt Liv initiate. It has to be something beyond their control that causes deep distress, or the audience understands, there is coming distress in the next episode. Because in the next episode, Dax's team is going to kidnap Liam and Ezra. That's episode 5. Half-ish way through episode 5. So either we allude to that or, I don't know, we need an we didn't see this coming. We need a cliffhanger for the end of episode 4. Thanks for sticking around. Love you. Appreciate you. Hopefully this was enjoyable. Hopefully, at the very least, Manna made it enjoyable. I love writing with you. Genuinely. I know I told you this off camera too. Like, you make it so much more fun. So, do you want to close us out? Anything you want to say before we go? I'll let you say it. You have the floor. Go. Into your microphone, though, please.
Oh. My other thoughts were like, they are trying to get out of the restaurant, but it's already closed. So they have to get out the window.
They're stuck inside?
They get out the window.
Who's stuck in the restaurant?
Liam and Ezra.
I don't know what to do with that. I'll have to pray about that one.
Like it?
I like it. It's a good idea. I just don't know how to use it yet. All right. You want to say goodbye to everybody?
Bye.
Thanks for joining us. See you in the next one.
Bye.